It's everybody's favorite uncle, Uncle Adam, coming to you from knuckletfup.com. That is knuckletfup.com. Now, the show we're going to talk about doesn't really involve knuckles. Well, it does, but they're guarded by small gloves, a 4-ounce, 6-ounce, I forget which kind and type, but the smaller MMA gloves. We're talking about Dirty Boxing Championship. This shit's pretty good. I mean, it's still growing. It's only their 4th show. We'll talk about a little bit of things I didn't like, but overall, I like the show. I'm not going to drop the rating until we get there. So let's jump into it and start going so we can get there. I don't dilly-dally around. I just kick back with you, relax, and knuckle the fuck up. And that's what we're going to do as we talk about Dirty Boxing number 4. It kicked off. This was on October 30th, 2025. Kind of shocked me, a Thursday night. Now, luckily, I had a vacation day on Friday. Didn't really plan it that way for this show, but it worked out really well. So I got to stay up late Thursday night and watch Dirty Boxing 4. Now, it started with Gabriel Urit taking on Akeem Bashir. Urit came out on fire with punches and elbows, pretty much controlling the round. He knocked Bashir down twice and got on top of him on the ground, but the first time he didn't put him away. Well, either time he didn't put him away. See, in Dirty Boxing, just real quick, bear with me, those of you who know, when you knock your opponent down, I don't mean trip or push him or he just falls. If you hit him and he goes down to the mat, you are allowed to ground and pound with no more than one knee on the mat for 5 seconds. It's a little bit of a struggle. Now, let me talk about that real quick, and we'll get back to this fight. We're still in this fight, but let me explain something, especially for people who may just be watching or just getting into this. I say it's difficult because the ref has to sit there, watch, and try and see the angles and determine if a guy on the ground is out or if you're going to let him get his brains bashed in. I'm not knocking Dirty Boxing. It's an exciting part of their fights, but I think it's tough to deal with. And we saw it here. Not anything terrible, but you see, Dan Miragliotta, some of the bigger guys, they have a hard time twisting and turning. Can I see his face? Can I see his eyes? What's going on here? Do I let this continue? It did continue in the first round here 2 times. So that's 10 seconds. The guy's on the ground getting his face bashed in. But the ref's judgment was he was still with it. Akeem Bashir was still with us, even though he was knocked down twice. Bashir got some nice shots in, don't get me wrong, but round 1 was all about Urit and his aggressiveness. Now, quickly in round 2, Urit got Bashir down again for the 3rd time and pounded him undefended for 5 seconds, and this time the referee stops the fight. The winner in 33 seconds of the 2nd round, Gabriel Urit. I like this guy. Thought he looked pretty good. Very fun way to kick the show off. A 2nd round knockout, a 2nd round stoppage, if you will. We got a lot more to go. There were 12 fights on this card. I was up pretty late. Thankfully, like I said, I had the next day off of work. The next match, again, this was October 30th, 2025. The 2nd fight were the ladies. Okay? We're going to talk about the women coming out here in Dirty Boxing, if you will. And those ladies were Mariah Agapova taking on Desiree Yanez. Now, before we get into this fight, I got to admit something here. I had paused the recording to make sure I could pronounce Mariah, if that's how it was pronounced, and forgot to unpause the video like some kind of idiotic moron. So, what I did was I talked to a camera for the rest of the review of Dirty Boxing 4, and it wasn't recording. So this shows you, Dirty Boxing, how much I love you. This shows you, fight fans, how much I love you. This shows you, everybody, what Uncle Adam will do for the best combat sports in the world. I mean, damn. But round 1 of the women's fight was very active. Agapova has a several-inch reach advantage, and she's taking advantage of that for sure, all round 1. Yanez keeps walking in. She's doing a zombie walk somewhat. She's coming forward. She's coming forward. She's coming forward. But she doesn't have anything to offer. She's got guts, but she ain't got no jab. She ain't got nothing. She's just getting pecked and pecked and pecked and pecked. And we'll see this later with another fight. If you're going to come forward, fighters, I'm no boxing coach, but if you're going to march forward, you better have something with you when you come in, right? Yanis keeps walking in, like I said, and when she does, her face shows the wares of that strategy. Her face is getting marked up pretty badly. Round 2 started solid for Agapova again, but, time out. Here comes Yanis. She's discovered a body blow, baby, and she's storming back, using it very effectively. So I'd say Yanis is now back up here. It's 1-1, 1 round to 1 round. That's pretty good. Round 3 was very competitive, but I think Yanis won it again. She found that body blow combined with a jab or two, and she worked it over, man. She worked Agapova over. Agapova seemed to be cruising to victory. Yeah, it was only the first round, but she was pretty steadily the better fighter. But in round 2 and round 3, Yanis brought it back. But neither one of the other could bring the other down, and that's never good news. Because, man, you don't want to leave stuff in the hands of the judges. Sometimes fighters are just so damn tough they can't help it. That's just the way it is. You're not knocking anybody out. They're taking everything you got, and they ain't going down. So this goes to the judges, and they give the win to Desiree Yanis, which was, in my opinion, the right decision. So at least we had that going for us, right? Now we are up to the third fight of the night, and that was Zane Burton taking on James Cannon. Now, James Cannon had a hell of a win on Dirty Boxing 3. I mean, he stormed out, won it pretty quickly. No one really knew what to think of him, and he showed that he's on the scene and he means business. He's a brawler. He's a puncher. He's a badass. Now here, Zane Burton, is pretty damn good. I mean, he's going to take your shit and keep coming. So now, we got a little problem here, James Cannon. This guy's eating what you're feeding him, and he ain't going down. So what happened here was entertaining, but it was pretty damn sloppy. The first round was absolutely wild. Both guys go insane. They both punch themselves out. I mean, you see that. You don't see it often because professionals typically know that unless you're positive, you're taking somebody down. And how the hell are you ever going to be positive? You don't punch yourself. You don't punch to the point to where you're exhausted. But that's what pretty much both these guys did. I mean, fists, elbows, it was wild. Both men looked kind of scary, but both men took what the other was throwing, and the round ended without anyone being knocked down, knocked out, or whatever, and with me sitting here wondering who won. I'm not sure. It was fun. It was exciting. It was somewhat funny. It was enjoyable. But man, it's like, who won that round? They're both maniacs. Okay? More insanity in round 2, but both men, again, punched themselves completely out. They're even more exhausted in round 2. I'm talking hands on knees. You ever watch football and you'll hear commentators say, look, the defensive linemen have their hands on their knees. They're huffing and puffing. That is a sign that somebody's completely gassed. Whenever you actually have to put your hands on your knees, take a little bit of a rest. And both of these guys were doing that. And we're going to go to round 3. What are they going to do in round 3? Just stand there and look at each other? Well, almost. Not really. They did punch, but again, they're not delivering real strong blows at this point because they ain't got it in them to give, right? This fight was sloppy as hell. I saw somebody on Twitter, on X, said it looked like a lunchroom fight in high school. That's pretty much correct. It just looked like two guys sloppily throwing blows at each other and neither going down. So they're both tough sons of bitches, for sure. But who's going to win this? I couldn't tell you. The judges give it to James Cannon unanimously. I think that was a little tough. I don't know if he won that unanimously, but hell, it was so hard to tell what kind of a fight it even was to determine who won it, let alone decide somebody won it unanimously. But James Cannon, that's a big win. He's 2-0. He loves dirty boxing. He wants to be one of the stars, but my friend, you're an incredible brawler. You're an incredible striker. But as you move up, so will the competition. So my friend, you've got to figure it out a little bit. You got to pace yourself a little bit more so you can have more athletic looking fights and not this sloppy stuff like this was. But it was entertaining. It really was. Now, the next fight was Andrew Stewart taking on Ivanildo Metendorf. Hard name to pronounce. I probably didn't do it right. Now, this one was the opposite of the last fight, especially because of Andrew Stewart. But Mettendorf is good too. But Stewart is a hell of a boxer, my friend. So this gets a leaner. There are two kind of fights. When I'm watching fights, there are leaners and there are wieners. I could have almost gave that last fight a wiener, but I didn't. I'm being nice today, but this was definitely a leaner. I hope a lot of the Dirty Boxing fans, as much as all of us love the rule set, how it's so different and how it's so exciting and how it's so entertaining, right? I hope we're not so into that some of us, and I'm saying us because I'm just trying to include myself in the bevy of my nieces and nephews. You know, Uncle Adam wants to be inclusive. But no, what I mean is, hopefully we can realize when we see a good boxer that this wasn't a bad fight and it wasn't. But Stewart had Mettendorf chase him the entire fight. That's what was going on. Stewart's purposely fighting off his back foot, right? He's drawing Mettendorf in. Mettendorf's getting pissed. Now, I'm talking, we're not breaking this down 1, 2, and 3. This is how the whole fight went, okay? Mettendorf's a good fighter too, but he chased Stewart all 3 rounds. He got pissed several times. He like throwing up his hands in the air. He was like, fucking fight me, right? He was fighting him. That's what I'm talking about, recognizing boxing talent when you see it. Not everybody has to be a balls to the wall, head-shotting wild man, right? This guy just paced himself, picked Mettendorf apart, and won it unanimously in 3 rounds. It was beautiful. It was a technical masterpiece. Now, when I'm watching Dirty Boxing, do I want to see nothing but technical masterpieces? Hell no. That's not what it's about either. But when you get a technical master the way Stewart is and was, you got to appreciate the beauty of it. And I still like fights that don't go to the judges. But for going to the judges, this was an excellent, excellent fight. The 5th match of the night saw Braxton Smith take on Ben Parrish. And this was a crazy fight. Parrish controlled the entire round. And more than once, I felt this probably should have been stopped early. At one point, Parrish knocked Smith down, got on him. They get 5 seconds. Now, those of you who know the rules, pardon me explaining it, but you know, you knock your opponent down. Then he doesn't slip, he doesn't fall. You knocked him down with a shot. You now have 5 seconds to try to pound him out on the ground. You can only put one knee on the ground. You can't mount him, but you can pound him out for 5 seconds. And the referee, and I know Dan Mergliotta gets some shit. I know he does, including on this show. The referee has to determine if you're out and the 5 seconds shouldn't even happen, or maybe it should be 2 seconds, or what have you. Here, the referee decided a couple times to let this continue, even though Parrish was dominating. It was odd. Basically, Parrish used his skills and his girth. He's a huge dude, man. He is sloppy looking. Look, I'm just calling it like I see it. He may be an excellent fighter, may be tough as hell, but he's a sloppy looking dude. And he used that girth, that slop, if you will, to push his opponent around. Not literally, but he went in on him, right? He just threw himself on him to a degree with that weight and pounded him into submission. It was fine for what it was. Ben Parrish wins by TKO in the first round, but wasn't a leaner, wasn't a wiener. It was fine. Next up, the 6th fight of the night was Peter Stochanik taking on Jaleel Willis, forgive me. Good back and forth first round with Stochanik getting the edge with strikes and aggressiveness, okay? Stochanik really was aggressive. Round 2, though, saw both guys bashing each other's faces in. Literally, there's so much phone booth fighting, there's so much jabs, there's so many overhands going on that both of their faces are pretty jacked up, okay? Pretty interesting. A clash of styles here, but it made for a good fight. Just when you thought the second round would end, Willis landed a vicious uppercut. This is being talked about all over social media. This was a viral moment, if you will, for sure. This uppercut by Jaleel Willis was like out of Mortal Kombat. Your soul is mine. I mean, that's what I was waiting to hear those words from Shaolin, right? But no, not quite. But Jaleel Willis making the rounds of social media, this clip. This guy's going to go places, and hopefully he's packing that uppercut with him. But everybody's aware of it now, my friend. Be on the lookout. They're going to be prepared for you. But if he hits it, oh my God. It was like Popeye hitting Brutus. He flew out of the scene. Unbelievable big win for Jaleel Willis. Next up was the 7th fight of the night, Travis St. John. Now, this guy's a Muay Thai guy. And those of you who watch your Uncle Adam knows that I'll pop one open and throw it back for Muay Thai, especially one championship, RWS. Good stuff, man. But now let me tell you, he's fighting Kevin Felipe. Yes, it's with an M, not an N. It's not Kevin, it's Kevin, unless Dirty Boxing spelled it wrong. Kevin Felipe. And this didn't last long. You're going to think I'm going to say the Muay Thai guy won, right? Well, hell no. He did not. Felipe came at St. John hard and fast and knocked him down and pounded him on the ground for 5 seconds. He got back up, but quickly was back down again for another 5 seconds, getting pounded on the ground. And the referee had to stop it and said, no, this is over. 38 damn seconds. I got to know, maybe I got to ask my good friend, Kat Connor, what's going on with these Muay Thai guys. I've seen them lose in kickboxing. I've seen them lose in bare knuckle. I've seen them lose in dirty boxing. They seem to lose a lot when they go outside of Muay Thai, and I'm not really understanding that. Muay Thai, it's the art of 8 limbs, right? Man, them son of a bitches. Then you can use elbows here. Of course, you can't use kicks. Is that what it is? That they're sort of thrown by not being able to use kicks? No, because I've seen them lose in MMA. I've seen them lose in kickboxing. What is it? I love them. I love Muay Thai, but why can't a lot of these guys or these gals win a fight outside of Muay Thai? Is it just that radical of a different discipline? I don't know, but the Muay Thai guy gets pounded out in 38 seconds. Kevin Felipe wins it. I mean, I can't really rate that match. 38 damn seconds. But we're up to the 8th fight, and this begins our main card. That's right. 7 fights on the early prelims and the prelims. 7. I don't want to complain, but I'm a 55-year-old guy. Of course, I'm sitting here can't even see the time because of these damn glasses. It is 3:48 because I'm recording this because I said my dumbass screwed up the recording and only recorded 3 minutes of like a 25-minute show. But we're just getting to the main card on the 8th fight. That was Michael Garcia versus Live DaCosta. The first round was solid, even though Garcia kept walking down DaCosta without throwing anything. This is going back to the ladies match, right? I'm not saying these guys fight like ladies, but the style here was very similar. It really was. Garcia just kept coming, but he wasn't giving anything. He wasn't bringing anything with him. And this allowed DaCosta to counter his walk down approaches. He held it his own in round 1, but he just didn't throw enough. But I'll call round 1 fairly even. Round 2, Garcia started using a jab effectively, but it takes a lot to hurt DaCosta. DaCosta's eating a lot of this shit and keeps coming. DaCosta is good, but not quite aggressive enough at all. I suspect because of the reach Garcia has. Garcia has a reach. Going back to that ladies match, this is the same story here. Garcia knocked DaCosta down at the end of round 3, but after 5 seconds on the ground, DaCosta was still good to go. But shortly after that, the bell to end the fight rang. So ding ding, round 3, all over. So we're going to the judges again. Yippee freaking ki-yay, right? As Bruce Willis might say back in the day. Look, I like DaCosta. He's a bare knuckle guy. I do. But this sort of boring, stale, lifeless fight is going to a 4th round because that's the rules of dirty boxing. They got a split draw, so that means we get a 4th round to determine a winner. Oh boy. Now I said I like DaCosta, and I ain't got nothing against Garcia. But guys, the 4th round I didn't care about because you didn't interest me in 3 rounds. The 4th round happened. It was as boring as the first 3. Big Mike Garcia won by split decision at the end of 4. That's the very definition of a wiener. Not into that match. Wasn't interested. Both guys are solid and good fighters, but this bout was anything but those things. The 9th fight of the night was Montavious Ware taking on Alexander Schneck. Ware came out and controlled Schneck with ease. His boxing skills were incredible. I mean, they really were. This is the 2nd fight of the night, and I'm not putting anybody else down in the other bouts, but this is the 2nd fight of the night where boxing skills really took over. And that, again, that's Ware. Montavious Ware. Very excellent boxer. I'm repeating myself, aren't I? He pounded Schneck off, and at one point, Ware even wound up like a windmill. This son of a bitch, and I say that complimentary, literally so damn good that he did the little cartoon. I mentioned Popeye earlier. He literally did a windmill. I got a bad shoulder, so I can't really do it. He did a windmill. Pow! It hit this guy with a fucking windmill move because he could. Because he was mocking him. Because he's kind of taunting him. He's like, he's dancing around, bouncing around, doing whatever in hell he wants. Ware knocked Schneck down several times and pounded him, but the third time he knocked him down, Schneck was clearly out of it, clearly done. The referee sees it, the winner early in round one. I exaggerated my commentary because it was damn entertaining and funny. Montavious Ware. I'm sorry, Mr. Schneck, but you got humiliated. That was something to behold for sure. Now, before we go into the rest of the card, I'm not going to read an ad or anything like that. I wish I was that successful. Not a young lady. I won't say her name. Okay. That'd be nice. Although this isn't going to be nice. A lady who was reading cards to introduce fighters to sort of inform the viewers, all of us in the live crowd, of who these fighters were, where they came from, some of their accolades. It makes sense, right? This woman was terrible. Is she capable of being good? Maybe. Maybe she's somebody's sister, wife. I don't know how she got this job. But look, I'm biased. Okay, I was a commentator for many years in independent professional wrestling, traveled several places on the East Coast, New York, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, of course, from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. You know, I traveled around. I was a commentator. Now, she's a commentator. She's not at the desk, but she's a commentator. If I would have turned Dirty Boxing on for the first time ever, say I never heard of it, but I scroll on YouTube, I see it, I click the button, and the first thing I see is this woman, I'm not even giving it a chance. Now, I'm a bastard, I guess. I don't know. But look, if she's out there sort of stammering and stuttering and repeating herself and going back and having to correct something she said wrongly, it was rough. Ma'am, I have nothing against you as a human being, and I don't begrudge your position in the company. But you got to sell the fights. You got to fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? Did you practice? Did you read the cards, or were they thrown at you last minute? I don't know what happened here, but she needs to improve. And I'm saying that as nicely as I can. It was pretty rough. When we were up to the 10th fight, it was Francisco Trinaldo taking on Naonish Amon. Even first round. Until about the 45-second mark or so, when Trinaldo knocked Amon down with a strong left and pounded him on the ground until the ref stops it at 5 seconds. Doesn't stop the fight. He just lets him know 5 seconds is up. You got to get off of him. He survived, right? Trinaldo dominated the second round. He didn't get another knockdown, no, but he busted and bloodied Amon's face up pretty bad. Now, you can't always say because somebody's bleeding that they're losing, but I can say it here because Amon's face was just turned to hamburger by the much older and much more experienced Francisco Trinaldo. Absolutely. Now, the third round coming up, the only way Amon can win this is if he gets a knockout. And I think his corner told him that because he came out in the third round much more aggressive. Not aggressive enough. I mean, he was just not on the skill level, I don't think. He's not on the same skill level as Trinaldo. He just isn't. And this goes to the judges as well. And yes, I get a little tired of that. I do. I really want to see guys put their opponents away, especially in a company called Dirty Damn Boxing, right? And they do get plenty of knockouts, don't misunderstand me, but I wanted to see this end that way. It did not, but the winner by unanimous, easy decision of if the judge would have screwed this up, I would have rioted it in my own home. I'd have broke something, I'd have smashed something, I'd have done something. But no, didn't happen. Francisco Trinaldo wins by unanimous decision, as should have been the case. We're up to the co-main event. Now, this is a short one, folks. Those of you watching and just checking out my review know what this was, but allow me some grace to talk about this a little bit. It was Bryan Battle, infamous Bryan Battle, taking on Nick Coring. Now, I'm going to make a claim, and I like Battle. I enjoy him. He's a hell of a fighter. But I'm going to make a claim, if he's within the sound of my voice, he won't like. But I swear, Nick Coring came out like an animal as soon as the bell rang and went to town, and I swear Battle was knocked out. Have you ever watched a fight where somebody's knocked out and they get hit again and it wakes them up? I think that happened. If you watch closely at the beginning of this fight, you will see Ring, didn't dominate. It wasn't a long enough time to call it domination, but really went to town on Battle, really came in hard and strong. And at one point, Battle gets rocked. I mean, he will admit that. And I saw when he got rocked, his knees went out from him. His mouth went agape. It's like whenever you see that look in their face, if he wasn't out, he was seriously rocked. I'm saying he was out and got woken up with another shot. Not only did he get woken up from being knocked out or semi-knocked out, it woke him the hell up in a major way. He comes back big time all over Ring, pounds him hard, hits him, I think it was a hard left to the side of the head. Ring's down on his knees. Now remember, this is dirty boxing, right? Dirty boxing. So, unless the referee rules you can't continue, and people are saying Miragliotta should have ruled that. He's there. I'm not. He's looking at these guys right in the face. I'm not. Not going to knock him for it. But Ring's on his knees. Not really moving. Tough call. Really, tough call to say it shouldn't have been stopped. And freaking Battle walks up to him, looks at the ref, looks at Ring while he's on his knees and just pops him a good one in the face and knocks him down. And Miragliotta stops it and gives it to Bryan Battle, winner early in the first round. Big, huge win. Hey, by the way, Bryan Battle, French kiss for that wonderful speech after the fight about keep on going, about God, about faith. Loved it, brother. Loved it. I might have loved that more than your fight, except for that shot while he was on his knees. That's going to go down in the history of dirty boxing, even though this is only number 4. I know it will. But no, Bryan Battle, big win, easy win. I think this man wants back in UFC. He wants to be a major MMA player, but he's being nice. He's saying, look, dirty boxing wants me back. I'll come back gladly. So I hope to see him back. I hope he gets bigger and better fights. I really want to see what this guy's made of in a major way, more than a minute, less than a minute into the first damn round. Okay. That was our semi-main event. Good stuff, but very short. But not as short as the main event. Damn. Now, Gable Stevenson, here he comes. He's taking on Billy Swanson. Gable Stevenson has a major reputation. Some good, some bad. I don't read up on everything about these fighters. I guess I should, but with all the shows I watch, I don't have time. But I know Stevenson was in wrestling back when I watched it. I was a 50-year fan of professional wrestling, gave it up for real combat sports because professional wrestling has got cornball as hell. That's another story. But no, Stevenson was there, didn't make it in WWE, wasn't there long, more than a cup of coffee, but not real long. And Swanson is the definition of a tomato can. No offense, my brother, you're doing it. I'm sitting on a desk. I get it. But he's lost several in a row quickly. And it clearly set Stevenson up to look like a star. And he did. He wins in 15 damn seconds. There's nothing really to talk about. Swanson got a minor shot or two. Stevenson took over, knocked him down, knocked him out, pounded him, stopped it, over in 15 seconds. And then after the big win, his debut in dirty boxing, he begs to be signed by another company, UFC. Now, I know Mike Perry and John Jones knows. I'm sure they're not upset about it. I'm not upset, like angry. I don't know. I thought it was a tiny bit classless, but maybe they have a relationship. I don't know the ins and outs of DBX and UFC, but I love striking combat sports. And Stevenson, my God, dude, fight 2 or 3 times before you start talking about going to UFC. You beat somebody that if you had lost to, your career would have been over. So of course you beat him. So calm down. Fight a couple more people that have more talent before you start telling us where you want to go next. That's just how I feel. But how do I feel about this overall show? It was a good show. It was a very good show. I'm going to give this show an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5 out of 10. Very good. It's sliding a little off of it because the co-main and the main were over in seconds. It's nobody's fault. Fighters are good enough to cause that to happen. Nobody's fault. Mike Tyson used to end all his fights in the first round for many years. I get it. But still, let's do a little bit better matchmaking. Let's give Gable Stevenson somebody that much better, at least. Come on. But no, very good show. And the lady in the cue cards and the stuff, That's chopped a little bit off of me for two. And as well as I thought sometimes there was a little bit too much time in between the fights. But I'm used to bare knuckle that goes boom, 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 boom. And nobody says that, dirty boxing has to be the same way. And it wasn't like watching a real life boxing where you get the Dana White says you get a podcast between the bouts. It wasn't anything like that. I just thought it could have been quicker. And this old head, even though it's like 4 o'clock in the morning as I record this because I had to do it twice, just doesn't want to watch 4 hours of a show. I do, and I will continue to. But every time, if I watch it a little bit late, watch it the next day, and I click it on and I see 4 hours and 20 minutes, I just want to scream. No show should be over 3, in my honest opinion. I wouldn't mind if they were 2.5. I'd rather see 2 nights of dirty boxing or any show, like a Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday, or 1 week and the next week, whatever. I'd rather see 2 shows in a month than one show that lasts 4 or over 4 hours. But still, 8.5 out of 10 is very solid. Dirty boxing is going places. I'm glad to be talking about it, and I shall continue to do so because I'm Adam Lavelle, bitch. Your Uncle Adam from KnuckleTFUp.com. This one's to you, my friends. Please subscribe to the YouTube. Go to the website. Click on the links to my social media. I only talk about combat sports. You're not going to have to read about my dead grandmother, my 3 dogs, my daughter, the fact that I'm going to be a grandfather for the first time in my life in January. You won't have to read about all that or see all the pictures. I only talk about sports combat there. KnuckleTFUp.com. Follow me everywhere. Engage with me, and I'll talk about what we talk about. But you got to talk to me first. Thanks for those of you who do comment on the YouTube videos. Keep it up. Please subscribe. I'll be back before you know it.